Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snow Horse Marketing Podcast. Today we have Diana here, and she is a digital marketing professional. Diana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, Diana, tell me, how did you get started in this going into the marketing world?
I was an artist and writer, and I started working with friends and family, just doing branding for them. And this was early when I was just starting college, so a long time ago. And that's how it got me started, the whole marketing business.
That's awesome. I know, if I remember correctly, when we were speaking earlier, you told me that you kind of started out in traditional marketing. Um, what did you like about traditional marketing?
I guess the artistic part of it, like designing, making brochures, just organizing information for people and make it beautiful, you know? I
Mhm.
think that was part of what I like the most. And then writing, just PR and to the whole world of like reputation management, I think was super enticing for me.
Yeah, it's such interesting stuff. No, I also did a lot of traditional marketing when I first started in marketing, and I remember going to like TV studios and having the questions written out, and sending out the press releases with a prayer that it's gonna get gonna get published. No, it's a really fun world. So, what got you to switch over? Now you're this amazing digital marketing expert. Like you manage millions of dollars in ad spend. I know you've had amazing success in your career. What got you to switch from that traditional perspective over to the digital marketing side?
I learned how to make websites and I discovered it was kind of like a superpower. And it reduced the cost of marketing for small businesses. It was easier to get to the people that would actually make a purchase. And it was just a better return on investment for people. And I just saw a lot of value in it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And then I know we were talking a little bit earlier about how, I know you've done Google Ads and you're just a pro at that. But you also do a lot of lead gen these days. Tell me about what's kind of got you into lead gen. What kind of trends are you seeing there? Like what about lead gen is really like driving your efforts right now?
I think that what's lacking in agencies currently and in the past, I think it is more prevalent now, but in the past there's attribution in focusing on the metrics that are really important and not vanity metrics. Because before, when I was working in a more traditional setting, it was still digital marketing, but I mean, like, it wasn't focused on lead generation. um, we put a lot of focus into like impressions, click through rate, and stuff like that, but not really the purchase. Like, it was important, but it was lumped in with the other metrics, and that just doesn't make sense. I think the only important metric right now and what I focus on when I do lead gen is the final metric, and it's that conversion, that sale, that form fill, and that conversion into a billable. So it's just another world. You're like more performance based. You're focusing on performance, and you're keeping the eye on the ball, and you're focusing on what's the most important thing for a business, which is generating revenue.
Here at Snowhorse, before I came to Snowhorse, I was the VP of marketing for a lighting company, and I managed a lot of vendors, a lot of agencies. I was the point of contact. I was supervising. I got all the reports, And that's one thing I found, like a lot of agencies that we worked with, a lot of vendors we worked with, it was about the clicks. It wasn't about that actually leading to a conversion. And so, yeah, when actually I've come over here at Snowhorse, I love that we actually do, it's called a fractional CMO approach, more of that strategy that you're talking about, where we really, I agree with you 100%. Like if it's not actually moving the bottom line, if it's not moving the ball, if it's not going to move something forward in the company, right? You want to make sure that it's designing so it has some sort of conversion. But I feel like in my experience, and let me know if your experience has been different, that often takes quite a bit of testing and quite a bit of data to figure out the best way to position it to build that lead. Like, what has your experience been? What have been those key things that you've looked for to be able to build the digital marketing to push through to having that lead?
Absolutely. It requires data, a lot of research firsthand, and then just testing. Um, I think the funnel approach, it's what's been a game changer for me. And it's just being able to be a funnel architect, what I call it. And I call myself that because it's just going through the customer journey and understanding where they are, where they come from, and how we're going to lead them through for them to take action. And all of the steps that happen in that process, they need to be measured, and you need to know what your goal is. And it all comes from understanding your audience and targeting the person who is really going to make that purchase. Um, so I think funnel architecture is what it's very important when it comes to lead generation and being efficient.
Well, and I love what you said there, and I'll highlight it for a second, is marketing to the right person. I feel like so many times people are just based on platform, right? Like I want to advertise on Facebook, or I want to be on TikTok, or I want to be on Snapchat, whatever it may be. And the focus isn't necessarily the persona, the alias, the ICP, depends on your background, what you name it, right? And I think it's really important, like for business owners or those who are actually going and building, being an architect like you are, of these funnels, of these processes, the most important thing to know is who are you marketing to. And I mean, I'm sure you're aware of this as well. There's so much more data. Like having started in a traditional marketing, there's so much more data to find who that person is. I know back in the day, they literally would hand out postcards and pay people $10 when they would work for something, so that they would mark off, why did you buy this brand over this brand? Like that's what they used to do. Now we have hashes, we have pixels, we have purchasing data, we have LiveRamp, which so much, right? So much available with the information. It's so much easier to figure out who that ICP is, who that ideal client is. What's a process that you use or a tool that you use that has helped you in building out these successful funnels for those that you've worked with? What's something that you do to make sure you find that right person?
First party data. Access to first party data is the key to finding the right person, because even through the funnels and like data that comes from the pixels, you don't know sometimes if that person actually made a purchase at the end. Like when it comes to maybe selling products and e-commerce, is a little easier, but when you're doing lead generation, people are filling out forms. How many people actually filled out that form and converted and ended up in becoming a client, or you know purchase the item or whatever. And so just having a CRM that tracks that data, even if you make it yourself, it's a native software, or if you purchase the software, and having this available to feedback into the campaigns. That's just super important. Another thing that I do, and some platforms do allow this, just call recording,
Mhm.
Google does it natively. Like, you don't even have to add anything to it. You can go onto the call report and like see the amount of minutes or whatever, if you're running a call center and like that's your product is sold through that, or your service is sold through that. I think an easy way to see like keyword performance would be to check the amount of time that your call center is spending on the calls by keyword. And
Mhm.
that just is such valuable information. Because if you can't get first party data, at least you're able to see some kind of indicators of a purchase that way. But yeah, I would say CRM and like getting to know your tools and what your pixels are tracking is super important.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I love that keyword data and that connection with sales. I feel so many marketers, they just forget marketing and sales. They are they need to be
Mhm.
and they need to work together. And I love that tip of like go listen and go pull out the keywords from the transcripts of like what are the ones that are selling. I know that's something we did at Snowhorse. We sat in and listened and recorded a lot of sales calls, and we were able to identify like certain keywords and train our salespeople. Be like, hey, this is the stuff people want us talking about what we do. This is the stuff that helps them to see the value in what we do. And I think any business would be wise to just do an analysis of that, whether however extensively they're able to do that. But that's a wonderful tip. Well, any last tip that you have for us, for anyone going into the lead gen world, anyone wanting to branch out and do more digital marketing, what would be your one tip for them?
I would say that you have to give value to just different lead gen sources. So, affiliate marketing, for example, if you as a business have never thought about getting third parties and use them as partners, I would encourage you to do that, because you're limited to what your team can do. And some people out there could provide so much more color to your strategy. Like, your internal team could learn also from these partnerships. So I would say that would be my final tip, would be consider bringing partners and learn from them, because everybody thinks differently, and they probably would bring different perspectives your internal team hasn't thought of.
Yeah, I love that insight of that diversity. And I think just remembering what we're selling to our people, right? We're selling to people. And don't forget that. It's not just data, it's not just numbers. We're selling to people. So, no, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you again for joining us on our podcast. I look forward to speaking again soon.
Yeah, let's do it. Have a good day. It was great being here.